The first time I watched that show, I fully relapsed into my alcoholism. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where imperfect people have imperfect conversations. I'm Christina.
And I'm Lauren.
And I think today's going to be pretty chill.
Yeah.
We have just become co-hosts, as you all know, and I'm still trying to figure it out because I've been doing it by myself.
We're still dating.
Well, I was telling Lauren, right before she got on, I burped really loudly, and it was very cute. So she doesn't know that side of me yet, necessarily.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
I know everyone burps.
We talk about bodily functions plenty on this podcast. It's safe to say.
We've talked about poop enough that I'm sure we can handle a burp.
Oh my god, I didn't ask for this early in the morning. It's 11:35. I have had COVID last week, which is why the podcast has been kind of quiet. Lauren and I are still trying to figure out how to organize all this podcast stuff. Mm-hmm. Like right now, I'm the only one in the social media. So like I had COVID this week and nothing got posted. It's like stuff like that we need to get our shit together.
Yeah, that kind of just came up even though I'd thought of it, but never remembered to mention it, that you're like, maybe you should have access to.
Like, no, both of us are super chill and have terrible memories, so...
Yes. That's why this works so well.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm not prepared today, full disclosure.
And I'm just an old lady and going senile, so I'm never prepared.
I feel like you're more prepared than I am sometimes.
Sometimes, but not today.
It's okay. We're two peas in a pod. We're two pickles in a jar.
Yes.
So what are we talking about today, Lauren?
So, kind of going off like last week, we are continuing to talk about mental health representations, good and bad, except this time it's just going to kind of be an overview and not like go specifically into one subject like we did last time, just kind of all over the map.
Yeah, we're figuring things out, and y'all are along for the ride, and it's going to get a little messy. It's going to be hilarious. I guarantee that.
Of course.
But yeah, y'all can let us know what you like, what you don't like. Anything goes, really. I was just telling Lauren, what if we had like a media review every month or so? Like, not necessarily a movie review, although that was really fun. Mm-hmm. The movie we reviewed last week, which if you haven't heard it, please go back and listen. Well, see To the Bone if you haven't already. Or maybe don't see it.
Yeah, as much as you can get through, enough to get the idea.
Last week we reviewed To the Bone, which is a movie about eating disorders. This week we will be talking about a lot of different movies and TV shows that people have mentioned to us.
So I guess I'm a little prepared. I found a list that I had been making where I just kind of like jotted down any ideas that I could think of, like, oh, that's a movie that touched on it. That's a book that was, important. So I'll have some things to mention.
Yes. So this week is not a review. It's just like sharing sharing the recommendations that you guys have.
Sharing the little thought nuggets we have on each one.
Have I ever told you I hate the word nugget?
Oh no,
I don't know why.
That's Pico's #1 nickname.
That's unfortunate. Pico, wherever you are, I'm sorry. I think before we go into that, though, we should just, like, shoot the shit.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you doing today?
I am exhausted. I don't know why.
What's been going on this week?
I don't know if it's just, like, work stuff or me staying up too late or what, but just the last couple of days we just felt like, oh god, these are so hard to get through.
Do you normally take sleep aids?
I don't.
Ooh.
The only thing I've ever done successfully is I learned that people that take melatonin, I guess the dosage that you will get sold is like 20 times like what's effective. Like it's actually a very, very small dose that's most effective for sleep.
What?
Yeah, it just kind of like screws with you when you take this huge excess amount, and that's why you usually don't actually get good sleep that way. You might like fall asleep and then wake up and then be messed up.
That's super interesting. I don't like melatonin because it gives me nightmares.
Yeah, I found the most successful way for me to take it is, I have like a little pill supplement and just like a little mouse. I just like nibble a little bit off of it and then it helps.
Like a pill, you nibble a tiny bit off the pill?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, because it's a, what is
you
it?
should just
it's
snort
kind of
it.
like an herb. I don't know if that works the same. I'll try next time.
No, the way you do it is probably more responsible.
But yeah, any kind of like prescription sleep aid or anything like that I've taken before, then it's like if it works, then it works too well. And it's just kind of like, oh, I slept and then I was a zombie for the next 24 hours.
Yeah, that's what I've found too. I haven't, I usually just take Benadryl at night and that's a whole other thing. It has it works, but
yeah, I've also done the swig of NyQuil. That also works.
We don't endorse these tactics.
No,
there's only so much you can do when you're old and don't have health insurance. Well, I don't have health insurance.
Yeah,
not that I was ever prescribed sleeping pills.
No, and I feel like that's something that frustrated me. I would mention it every single time that I went in for anything. They're like, how do you sleep? I was like, I have slept terribly since I was 4 years old, basically. Yeah. And I just always felt I was always pushing, maybe we could try something. And I just felt like they were like, oh, that's nice. Anyway.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Here's a banana.
But like I said, then once I finally actually got to try something, prescription stuff, then I was like, okay, I don't like it, so I'm going to stop mentioning that.
Yeah, that stuff, I don't know. My mom in the past has taken Ambien and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that, I don't know, it kind of scares me.
Yeah.
I feel like I get addicted to everything.
Ah.
Is that Pico?
No, that is Meatball.
I know some people give their pets Ambien and shit.
Oh, I know, and I am not for that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't even take that myself.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
I would. That's the problem. What are we even talking about?
I don't know. We suddenly got into, giving your pets sleep aids.
I haven't been sleeping either, in case you can't tell.
Okay.
But I feel like I didn't do any, I had a really short week this week. I had a short week today.
That was actually one of the best things. I had a coworker tell me that really explained how terrible a Monday was one week, because she comes at the end of the day, she's like, today was the longest week at work I've ever had. I was like, I know.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I worked Wednesday through Friday because I had COVID. And
right.
So I only worked 3 days this week, but I feel like I worked, overtime or something. Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I'm not sleeping. I'm I don't know. Can't think straight.
Well, I mean, there is a getting over COVID time. I mean,
oh my God.
Not too many people that I know are like, I bounced back in a day.
It's true. I think sometimes
you can have a little grace.
You're absolutely right. I am very quickly to put that pressure on myself to get back to normal super fast.
Oh, me too. So I know.
Have you gotten COVID yet?
I haven't. I think I'm a unicorn.
This was my first time in 2 years getting it.
Yeah.
So hopefully, knock on wood, you won't get it now.
Yeah. I think there is one other person at work that hasn't yet, because I only work with 11 people. It's small, but that's what we were talking about. And so we're like, are we the only two? Yeah.
Oh my God. We've been watching a ton of TV in the last week because of the whole COVID thing.
Oh, yes, of course.
We've been watching Mad Men. Have you ever seen it?
I saw one episode, and it was probably when it was pretty new, and it was because the office that I was working in, I got to be really good friends with the girl that was the receptionist, and that's what she came in, and we'd always joked about the terrible setting, and she came in and she's like, you got to watch this show, it's our office. I was like, oh shit.
Yikes. Yeah, it's pretty cringy. It's my third time watching it through, I think, and it's Brett's first. So obviously there's the rampant misogyny and racism and all that stuff. But this time through, I really have been focusing on the addiction depictions in that show. particularly just like the way the characters are always drinking, like they always have a cigarette in their hand or a drink in their hand, and it's just really interesting because
Yeah, I think I remember seeing like a YouTube video that was every cigarette smoked in Mad Men in the first season.
yeah, it's a lot, but that's how it was. I mean, I can only assume.
No, it was. I can't remember if I've told you about this before, that there was this old mall, and it was still open when I was a little kid, but it was like really on its way to die at that point. So, you know, they weren't even going to like probably put any money into like renovating it then or anything like that. And then it pretty much everything moved out except for, you know, like an anchor store. There'd be like a Kmart and then this huge empty mall. And I remember
like malls now.
Yeah. Except, you know, like it was already like this in like the late 90s.
Damn.
So that's why, yeah, it's like I remember going through it as a teenager and walking around, and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, there was these sitting areas in it that were just kind of like sunken in the middle and had, you know, benches and things like that, and built into the walls were ashtrays.
Wow.
It's just like they'd never gotten rid of those probably when people stopped smoking, because it was only, you know, like 2 years or so before the thing died. So
I mean, I remember going to like restaurants with smoking sections.
oh, I worked in a restaurant with a smoking section.
So wild. Both of my parents grew up with, like, their parents smoked, their grandparents smoked. Like, they basically grew up in a cloud of secondhand smoke. And
Yeah, my friend who was a couple years older than me, that's what she said. She's like, I remember people smoking in the grocery store when I was going shopping with my parents.
Wild.
I know.
And now you can't even, like, vape anywhere.
Exactly.
Oh my god, I'm surprised that we didn't mention sneaking vapes into treatment last week.
Gosh. Yeah.
There was a lot we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about how creepy it was that Keanu Reeves just, like, sat on the edge of their bed at night and, like, had a chat. I think I forced myself to forget. What was I about to talk about? We were talking about smoking. Oh, Mad Men. There's a character who is sober when you meet him. He's, like, one of the admin, but he's sober, so he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And you see him kind of struggling to fit in professionally, and then there's a turning point where he starts drinking again. Like, he's at a business lunch with these two old colleagues, and they give him a drink, and you see that decision like flicker across his eyes. He's like, what if I did? So he accepts it, and then after that, like, he starts picking up business again, but you can see his personal life kind of spiraling out of control. And for some reason, the thing that really resonated with me was just, like, being a different person when you're drinking and feeling like you're more social and, like, you're a better worker. Because that was me for so many years. And even now, like, at moments like this where we're just, like, shooting the shit without a plan, I don't know, there's still a part of me that feels vulnerable if I'm not, like, on any substances. It's like, why do I feel like I'm so boring without it? You know?
I understand. Yeah. I don't think you're boring. But
I mean, I don't think I'm boring most of the time. I
well,
just, I don't know. It just was something to talk about.
No, it is. That's why it's kind of the lubricant, people say.
Yeah. But that's a good segue, I guess, into more media talk.
Absolutely.
We asked everyone what your favorite mental health depictions in media were. Favorite or least favorite?
Yeah, good or bad, because there's plenty of both.
There's so many suggestions. Like, all of these really made me want to do a whole episode about each one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I felt like our last week's was so much fun that's why I love the idea of, like, planning to do one, like you said, every month or something, so that we can actually, because originally I was just going to come in and talk about what I remembered, but this way, you know, we actually set aside time to watch or listen or read or whatever we need to do, and then it's fresh, and I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, we obviously, like, we're about to talk about your suggestions, and we haven't seen all of them. So, if we don't talk about yours too much, it's mostly because we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it starts a lot of good...
Maybe we'll get into it.
I got a cough. Jesus. I'm vaping right now. I'm such a hypocrite.
No, so am I. I'm trying to be quiet about it.
I actually got rid of my loud vape. Now
Okay.
I just have one of those little, like, Views pods things from 7-Eleven. I used to have what are they called? A Jewel.
Yeah.
And my cat lost it somewhere in my apartment. It's still here somewhere. I just don't know where. It's been lost for months.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. What did you say your favorite and least favorite mental health depictions in media were? Like, you said you had a list with, like, some observations.
Yeah, because I just looked up when I wasn't sure if we were going to just do, like, the single episode last time. Then I just looked up, like, what are some examples? You know, like, what's a list?
Yeah.
I know somebody else mentioned, I feel like one of my favorites was the TV show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, I've watched it all the way through twice.
Oh, thank God.
I love it, yes.
Thank goodness, because I haven't, and so many people mentioned it, I really wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. The only thing that would be is I feel like when it gets into the specifics, that's more like the third season. So I don't know, you know, like how dedicated you would be to watching. Because it's meant to just be kind of like silly in the first couple. And actually, I heard an interview with the lead and the creator. And I believe how she said they went about it is, you know, they did a couple seasons and she was, you know, like scheming and get into all of her messes and things like that. And it was only after like a season or two that they started to feel like, well, this girl probably actually has a diagnosable problem. And so she said they sent like the first season or two to multiple psychiatrists and said, diagnose this character. And that's how they came up with her diagnosis.
What?
Yeah.
So originally, she doesn't have a diagnosis.
Right. You just know that it's like, she's a little off. Some of these things that she does are a little extreme. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. See, I knew, so, spoiler alert, she has borderline personality disorder, right?
Yes.
I did an episode, like, I interviewed a guest, like, way back. M, you know M, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, what episode was that? It was like episode 6 or something. I interviewed a guest with BPD, and it was an amazing episode. Go back and listen. But we haven't really talked about it since then.
So here's an interesting thing on me watching that show, too, is that in my early 20s, then I was diagnosed with BPD.
What?
And yeah.
Oh my God. Do tell.
I would say that fit it pretty well. Like, I believe that was accurate. I don't believe that I am anymore. I don't.
This is such an ignorant question. Is that something you can, like, get over? It's not, right? Like, it's genetic?
I don't know. It's a personality disorder. I believe you can, like, people learn how to manage it, and I would say that,
but
I don't know.
Not permanent? We're gonna get so much flack for this.
I know, but it's just kind of like, because like at least when I was, the way to diagnose it was basically there's just like a list of questions, and if you answer yes to a certain amount, then they say, you know, like this is you. That's why I say, like, right now I would not say yes to many of those questions, so I would not be diagnosed as it. That's why I say, like, I don't fit it now, but I did. But the thing is the journey, I guess, that the character goes through when she finds out that this is what's going on with her was really similar to mine, because for me it was earlier and you didn't hear as much stigma. We hadn't like learned to immediately Google every single thing quite yet. So, you know, so the first thing is, you know, I've been going to see a therapist and just knowing that I feel fucked up and I don't know why. And she tells me this and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's a thing, you know, like that really makes me feel better, actually. And it was like after that I learned everyone's like, ooh, BPD, they're manipulative and they're terrible people and stay away from them and everything. And that's kind of like exactly the journey that she goes through. Like they tell her and she's just like so relieved to find out there's a reason, and her doctor tells her, you know, like, okay, I'm going to see you in, you know, like a week or something. Don't look up anything about this illness.
That's so
and of course she
sad,
does.
though.
And yeah, and here's all that stuff and it's like, oh.
Man, yeah, I knew the stigma was pretty bad, but I there's probably a lot of misinformation, which means like shows like that are even more important, that portray it accurately. What were your favorite parts about that show? Like the way they portrayed it? What really hit home for you?
I mean, my favorite part about the show is a little unrelated. It's just that the songs are actually funny.
Oh yeah, it's a musical, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's why I couldn't get into it, because I hate musicals.
Well, and I don't, but I did expect it to be like, oh, okay, you know, like, I know it's going to be fun, but they're probably going to be a little cheesy, like songs and shows usually are. It's like, no, they're actually really funny.
Oh my god, I
was
need to
very
give it another
impressed.
chance.
Yeah.
I wish we could, like, play a song on here or something, but I don't know what the
I know.
copyright laws
I would
are.
say we probably can't.
Someone else also sent in a voicemail about a song, and I looked up the lyric. Well, here, we should just play it.
Hey, I'm doing a voice message for the question that you put up. Yeah, I'm so awkward with voice messages. Okay, so the question you asked was, what is your favorite / least favorite depiction of mental health in media? And I don't know if this counts as media, but I'd have to say my girl Phoebe Bridgers. She's a singer, for those of y'all that don't know, and I feel like the first time I heard her lyrics, I kind of felt like, wow, I relate to this so much. I think especially her song Funeral, where I think the main line in it is just like, Jesus Christ, I'm so blue all the time. I always have been and always will. Yeah, something like that. I fucked it up. But yes, when I heard that, it was just such a simple line. But when you are depressed and in that state, like, that's how you feel. You feel like you always have been this way. You always will feel this way. And, like, that's the end-all be-all. And hearing that in a song was, like, very validating to know that it's not just me. Yeah, this is a really long message, so you're probably gonna have to cut a bunch of this shit out. But, yeah.
So that's my friend Bianca. I used to work with her at Starbucks, and she was in an episode a few months ago.
Okay.
So I have heard some songs by Phoebe Bridgers, but not a ton. What have you?
I have not. In fact, a couple months ago, I finally realized that I was confusing. Like, every time I heard her name, I was thinking, who's it, Phoebe Bridge-Waller, who does...
Oh, Fleabag. I know that Bianca also likes Fleabag, so that's hilarious that you mentioned that. That's also a great depiction.
Yes, I didn't even think that. Oh my gosh.
God, we should...
Yeah.
Anyway, staying focused. So I looked up the lyrics to this song, Funeral, and I won't read all of them, but in addition to that line, Jesus Christ, I'm so blue all the time, that's just how I feel, always have, always will, there's a verse that goes, I have a friend I call when I've bored myself to tears, and we talk until we think we might just kill ourselves, but then we laugh until it disappears.
Oh,
and that kind of reminded me of, like, of this.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that's... I think sometimes I get so worried about, like, planning the podcast and, like, making everyone happy, but ultimately it's a place where we come where we're sad and we talk about shit and we laugh until, like, we feel better, you know?
Yeah, and that is, I don't know, like the misery loves company sort of thing.
Totally. Yeah, so I really like that. And again,
I like that a lot too.
I would play the song, but, you know, we probably can't.
Probably can't.
But thank you, Bianca, for sending that in. Music has always been super, super healing for me. That sounds really cringy. I want to slap myself in the face. It's just been a healing journey.
Absolutely. I have, so I am working my way up. I got my first tattoo when I was, I think, 38.
Oh, that's impressive.
And so, well, I never thought that I wanted anything on my body when I was 80. And then I got my first one and I was like, you know what? I want 10 more.
That's usually how it goes.
Yes.
My mom got her first one at 62 with me.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so my second one that I got was just like some of my absolute favorite song lyrics. It's the artist Poe, and it's from the song Fly Away. I got Sure It All Matters, but in such an unimportant way.
Oh, I love that.
It was like two messages that I feel like I've heard that it's kind of like if something is important to you, then it's important, like don't discount it, but also everything's not the end of the world.
Seriously, like, I think the less seriously I take things, the less anxious I am.
Yeah.
And the more I'm able to enjoy life when I'm not, like, worrying about everything. Because we don't have control over shit. Mm-hmm. Really. It's becoming increasingly clear.
Yes.
I mean, going back to our conversation earlier about not sleeping, yeah, like, the world is in such a shitty state. It's just, like, there's always something to worry about. Like, when I'm in bed, I find myself thinking about, like, bills and, politics and work and, stuff going on in other countries. And, like, did I floss this,
Yes.
Did I floss? And, like, is my cat dying? And, oh, shit, I forgot to clean the toilet earlier. Stuff like, it just never ends. And so at the end of the day, it's just like, that stuff doesn't matter. Like, not the toilet stuff, like the cat, like, I don't know. That's my TED Talk.
Yeah. That was beautiful. It was succinctly said.
It's funny because I have a music tattoo too, but it's not nearly as wholesome. It's from an Arcade Fire song, and it says, "Now that I'm older, my heart is colder."
The other song lyric that I would get, it was the first time I was in treatment and you had to write about your worst day.
Ooh.
And I just had, like this song playing through my head while I was writing it. So I gave it a title, kind of. It's a Portugal the Man song. And the lyric is, "After you, hell should be easy."
Were you writing that to yourself?
Yes. Like looking at, like, wow, this is the worst that I've been through. And it's like, okay, after this, hell should be easy.
I mean, you've got a point. Wait, you wrote that? No, it was a Portugal
No, that was
the
a
Man.
song lyric.
Dude,
yeah.
This is embarrassing. I cannot think straight. I feel like I've used, like, brain fog from COVID as an excuse too many times this week, like, at work. But for real.
See, that's when you just gotta admit it's senility.
I'm still a young duck.
You're right.
Somewhat.
Unlike me.
No. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, a lot of you mentioned BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of that. I would like to. I've heard a lot of people really say they like it.
It's really good. It's very dark. Mm-hmm. As someone with addiction and depression and suicide ideation, it is very, very accurate. It gets very close to home, like, if you're easily triggered by that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's another side of this stuff is, like, for me, I can get really, really easily triggered by some, like, if a depiction is too good, like, especially with the addiction stuff. Sometimes it can get me in a darker headspace. Has that ever happened to you?
It does, though. I will
Not
say
with addiction.
No, but things, that are triggering to me. but I do, this is something that I've learned that's probably good, is when I'm watching stuff like that, I feel like I know when I hit an overwhelmed point, and I know when to at least step away for a moment, because I know, like, there's shows that are really heavy that I've watched, and I've said, like, I can only do one episode at a time. I don't know, I wonder, this might be a good one. Did you ever watch the show Made on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I know that's what I felt like, is I was, like, really interested, and I watched the first episode and I was like, okay, I need to take a couple days before I watch another one.
Yeah, that show was rough for a lot of different reasons. There's, like, a lot of domestic violence, and I don't know, obviously not as bad as domestic violence and, like, the abuse and everything, but shows that depict like, financial insecurity really, really hit me, because like, I didn't grow up with money, and, like, my family went bankrupt and all this stuff, and, like, I'm 30 now, and I still feel like, I don't know, I don't have a financial buffer, and, like, I thought I would at this point. And in Maid, she's just always, like, she never knows if she's gonna, like, have somewhere to stay. She's barely making it, and she has a kid. It's just really hard to watch sometimes.
Agreed.
Yeah. Taking care of yourself mentally when you're watching stuff like that is super, super important.
Yes, I would advise anybody that that is curious about the things that we are going to be talking about. Yeah, know when to step away if you need to.
Seriously. Did you watch Sharp Objects?
I didn't, but I read the book a couple times.
Oh, the book is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a show on HBO with Amy Adams. She plays a journalist who is going back to her childhood home, which is, super triggering for her in the way that always is. And she also drinks a lot. And there's also, a lot of self-harm depicted in that show. So this is a good example of shows to be careful about. Because, the first time I watched that show, I fully relapsed into my alcoholism. This was back in 2018. It's I was already in a vulnerable space, and then just watching that show, I was miserable, she was drinking, she was hiding vodka in a water bottle, I started hiding vodka in a water bottle, so
Gotcha.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, that one I remember reading it, and it's yes, I have somewhat of a history with some self-injury, but I know it. What you said about the financial thing, it was just kind of okay, I knew there was the self-injury piece, and that part didn't bother me as much as the feeling of going back home and being smothered by it, because I've also experienced that, and I was that was the harder part for me to get through.
I mean, you experienced that pretty recently.
Yeah, though it wasn't as bad this time, but there have been times, where I know I was just oh, jeez.
Oh, man. What are some other shows that deal with that? I feel like there was something I saw. I've been watching a lot of TV recently, like I said. So.
Yeah.
Some people didn't mention specific shows or movies, but they mentioned themes.
Yeah.
What are some depictions that you feel people get totally wrong? Just in general.
I think the number one is, because I did not realize this until I was quite older, is that schizophrenia is not multiple personalities. That I feel is a huge one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's scary. People get scared of certain things like BPD and, schizophrenia. And then I feel it gets misinterpreted and misrepresented in so many
When I was a
ways.
little kid, there was the joke, roses are red, violets are blue, I'm a schizophrenic and so am I.
What? Oh my God, I hate that.
Exactly. But that's because that's what, we were saying that when we were kids, because that's what we thought is oh, that's when you have multiple personalities. And then it's it's actually not that at all.
I think they're even now changing multiple personality disorder isn't called that anymore.
Yeah, it's DID.
Yeah, dissociative identity disorder. We're professionals.
And I'm sure that is misunderstood for what it is as well. But the schizophrenia one was always tough for me, because I was just kind of you just literally made up what it is. And that's not it.
Yeah, it's bad.
I would bet I don't see it represented much, but I feel another thing that probably gets really done wrong is Tourette's.
Oh, I don't know much about that.
I just feel anything that has, just this set stigma, it's you hear that and you think oh, that's people that shout out swear words all the time. Well, that's one way, but lots of people don't.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was something else someone brought up, right? That OCD doesn't mean cleaning all the time.
Oh my God. Thank you. That's people just thinking, it's cleaning all the time and just being really particular about things. No, it can be literal hell.
Sorry, I'm rescuing something from my cat.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead. We'll take a little cat break. I feel I'm not doing any of these justice.
Yeah, if it sparks anyone's interest and you want to hear a lot more.
Yeah, we need ideas.
I have to share, I had a funny one, but it's true.
Tell me, hit me with it.
Because we had talked a little bit about Girl Interrupted, and first of all, there's one that I feel that's not BPD.
No.
I'm not sure how much I feel, Angelina Jolie's character was supposed to be a sociopath. And I'm just kind of yeah, maybe sociopath light. And
was she supposed to have BPD? No. Winona Ryder was supposed to have BPD. It's been a long time. We're gonna do a whole episode about that movie for sure. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If anyone was out there worry not.
We're gonna hit it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that, and then it came into my head. I was like, you know what? I mean, I don't know if you read these because they would be before your time, but I'm sure you at least know they exist. It's like, honestly, I think that probably the best depiction in media of a sociopath is Sweet Valley High's Jessica Wakefield.
Okay, I used to read Sweet
She's
Valley
a straight up
High.
monster.
Is she the popular girl?
Yeah.
I don't really remember a ton about that series. I just know that there were dozens of books and I just devoured them.
Yeah, every once in a while, I feel like I pick up like a book that I used to read when I was a kid because there were so many series that I was into, just to see like, what's it like now? So that's what I'd say like 5 years ago or something. Like I read one of them and I was like, oh my God. I was like, she I don't think she has a soul.
I just remember that series describing the twins as like blue-eyed,
yes.
blonde hair,
Blonde
size
hair, 5'6", perfect size 6, yep.
Perfect size 6. Dude, that was so fucked up. If you think about it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I would be scared to read those again. I do want to read a series of unfortunate events again. Have you read that?
I've never read that. No.
It's really depressing. It's just it's like the opposite of Sweet Valley High in that everything bad happens to the characters, and I don't know, it's a very bleak, humorous. It's not humorous. I don't know. That's the kind of books I read growing up. Just like from Sweet Valley High to just depressing shit.
Oh, same. I was just saying, I read everything I could get my hands on.
The Boxcar Children.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew.
My mom had a similar series that was Trixie Belden.
Trixie what?
Trixie Belden.
Trixie, I have to look this up.
But I feel like it was very similar to Nancy Drew. It was just kind of like they had a group of friends, they solved mysteries. Yeah.
Belden?
Belden with a B.
Oh, okay. Trixie Belden. Oh my. Between 1948 and 1986. That's a 40-year span.
Wow.
Interesting. Sorry,
that makes sense,
we're
then.
way off topic.
Yeah, my mom had some because she read them when she was a kid. So.
Oh, that's cute. I'd be interested to see like how those.
Yeah.
I don't remember them mentioning like mental health at all.
Probably not.
It was just like solving mysteries.
They maybe didn't like mention it straight out, but you know, they had the kind of like the character that was the little like rich girl and got everything that she wanted, but her parents were never around and she's kind of neglected. So maybe hit on like some depression things without spelling it out.
Did they ever have any queer characters in like Sweet Valley High?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Which is crazy because now, like, I feel every series is including queer characters just because they feel like they have to, but it's obvious which ones are just, like, not invested. A lot of people wrote in to say, like, the erasure of gay and queer characters and, like, the way that they suffer. And then, hold on, I'll read this.
Okay.
What were you going to say while I pull up this comment?
I was going to say a good thing for those because, yeah, you know, like books that were written in the 70s and 80s, well, nobody was admitting it then. It doesn't mean that there weren't queer people. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to read those sometimes too and be like, okay, so which ones were in the closet?
Yeah.
Because you know they existed.
Oh, totally. So Ella wrote in and said for their least favorite depiction of mental health in media, they said, for very personal reasons, I'd have to go with self-harm and suicide for queer characters without sufficiently exploring the systemic reasons to blame for their alienation and trauma. That's just queer trauma porn, and I have no time for it. And then some examples that they gave were Boys Don't Cry. I haven't seen that.
I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah. Girl, which is a Belgian film. Handmaid's Tale.
I saw some of it.
Handmaid's Tale is dark.
Yeah, that was another one that it was like, I can watch an episode or two, and then I gotta put it away.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. But Alexis Bledell's character gets punished for being gay in that show. Yeah. And that's another thing, like, I feel like I want to get into that topic more, and I don't feel like I'm qualified right now in this moment to talk about it. It just deserves a whole episode at the very least.
I agree.
Which is why I think moving forward, I don't know what I was going to say. I'm sitting in a pool of sweat right now. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the fan's off.
But yeah, what do y'all think about for the pickle polls? Maybe like every 3 weeks we put out a choice of like 2 movies or 2 TV shows or something, and you pick which one we review.
Yes. Yeah. So I wanted to hit on 2 movies where there's like a bigger overarching theme in the specific movies that I'm talking about, but there is like a side character that I feel like their mental health journey that connected with me the most, even though it wasn't like the main story or anything like that.
All right.
One I was thinking is American Beauty.
Oh, I was just mentioning that movie to someone the other day.
And Allison Janney's character, the saddest character in that whole movie.
Which character? Who did she play?
She is the neighbor boy's mom.
Oh,
that
yeah.
has clearly been like beaten down so much by that family that she's just an empty shell.
Oh, see, those kind of plots really make me sad too, which
Exactly.
I guess it means it's working.
Yeah.
Also, American Beauty is such an icky movie.
I know. That's why I was just kind of like, I don't care to really get into the whole movie, but that character really like had an effect on me.
It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but like once you start honing in on like quote unquote secondary characters and background characters in some of these movies, you really start to pick up on things you never noticed before. And I always feel like, man, why couldn't we have been focusing on this character? Like, why couldn't the movie have been about her?
I know.
And
I was
struggles?
interested in like the history of how she ended up like in that position.
Mm-hmm. What was the other one you were thinking of?
So the other one I know we talked about a little, and I guess it's not as much of a side character, but I still feel like it wasn't like the main story, was Requiem for a Dream and the mother.
Oh my god, yes. We did talk about this.
Yeah. One of the most terrifying, and possibly because it felt accurate in a way, scenes in a movie, it was when her refrigerator comes to life.
Oh my god, yes.
Like, I'm still like, my heart's pounding just thinking about it.
So Requiem for a Dream is on its surface is about drug addiction, and you know the son and his girlfriend are the main characters. Like, you see them getting sucked into the world of drug addiction, but there's a secondary plot with his mother getting addicted to diet pills. You know, she has dysmorphia and she starts getting like it's unclear whether she's going crazy or if it's the drugs or like whatever. Also, I hate using the word crazy. I'm trying to do it less.
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, she's like really obsessed about fitting into that dress, and it kind of just becomes everything in her life. And yeah,
that is one of the most harrowing plots I've seen in a while. Like I did watch it in the last year, and her story is just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, because like you said, it, you know, a part of it I'm sure is the substance addiction and abuse that she's taking part in, but also it shows like how just a simple thing that it starts out just like, oh, I'm gonna fit into this dress and that's gonna make my life better, and it just takes hold so much that it just becomes this like driving force that you can't get away from.
Yeah, you see her lose friends over it. Her life becomes just like sitting on the couch and like looking at the fridge, and the fridge is this monster.
Yeah.
She starts having like hallucinations and stuff, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
We'll review that at some point too, I'm sure.
Although I don't feel like I could watch that whole movie again. That's what I've always said, like, I saw it once and I will probably only see it once, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that one's a hard one for sure. And it hasn't aged particularly well in some ways.
I would imagine.
I mean, that would apply to, like, everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is a really hard question to answer with just one podcast.
Yeah.
But great. It opened up a lot of conversations, and I think moving forward, we're going to be talking about this stuff a lot more, like, individually.
There was also the idea when I was looking into this of taking something like children's movies having depictions. I mean, like, I know we did bring up, like I said last time, Winnie the Pooh, but another one that I would come across sometimes is Finding Nemo.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dory?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was like, is that actually good or bad? I'm not sure.
What Dory is supposed to have, like, she has memory loss.
Yeah.
So I'm the oldest of 7, and I grew up watching kids movies all the time, nothing but kids movies. But like since I left the house, I don't know, how old am I? I'm 30. I can't do math. 12 years ago or whatever. I haven't really watched a ton of kids movies since then.
Okay.
Some of them I want to watch again, like Finding Nemo, amazing. What the fuck are we even talking about? I feel like you came very prepared this time.
I didn't mean to.
I don't want to be giving off like super insecure vibes, but also like this is a mental health podcast and I feel like insecure right now. So it is what it is. Some days, you know, I'm just not as prepared and that's okay.
Yeah, sometimes we just sit around in the morning and shoot the shit.
Honestly, I love that. Those are my favorite podcasts to listen to where the hosts just sit around shooting the shit.
Yeah, I love it when you just go on tangents, which I believe we did admirably today.
Yes. I'm glad that you're doing this with me now because I think it'll be a lot. I think you bring a lot to the podcast.
Oh,
you bring a structure and like a professionalism and like no pressure or anything. But
I try to fake that I'm organized, so
yeah.
It works.
Yeah. What are you up to today?
After this, I am going to get Meatball stitches taken out.
Oh, from getting neutered?
Mm-hmm. He's actually been very good. We had a time he had to wear a cone for 2 days in the middle because he just suddenly decided, I want to try and eat my incision.
Oh, Meatball.
But I just gave him a few days and it seemed to heal up really well. So the last couple days it's been looking fine and we'll go get him out today.
I'm trying really, really hard right now not to make a pun about Meatball losing his meatballs.
Oh, my coworkers already did when because only one of his testicles had dropped. But when they first called me and told me, I thought they were saying that he only had one ball. And so they're telling me, you know, like this, so this makes the surgery different. And I was like, okay. And that's what I told them afterwards, you know, my coworkers on break. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I guess they said he only has one ball. And they're like, well, yeah, that's why he's Meatball. I was like, yeah, I guess we didn't name him Meatballs. And then my other coworkers like, and then when you pick him up, he'll just be meat. Oh.
Wow.
Poor meat. No
poor
balls.
Meat. Well, that's pickles and vodka, everybody. Just kidding. So yeah, next week we may have a guest. I'm still, no, that's a lie. We're not having a guest next week.
Okay.
We decided we're just going to do a few more episodes on our own just to kind of feel it out and decide like what kind of podcast we're going to be.
So I can still not feel nervous every time, like, is this going to be okay?
Oh, I feel nervous every time.
Oh, okay, then maybe it'll never go away.
No, but it's fine. So the next few weeks might be a little bit all over the place. But I don't know what to say at this point because that's just who we are.
Yeah, we'll come up with something to talk about next week and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Have faith in us.
Yes, have faith in us. We'll make you laugh at any rate.
Right.
And it might be cathartic for someone.
At least you can laugh at us.
All right. Well, everyone have a good week. And don't get COVID if you can help it.
Be a unicorn like me.
Yes. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
We need a sign off. We need like something to say at the end to let them know that it's over.
We're done. Go home.
We're done. Go home. Go play with your meatballs. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. All right, bye everyone. We're done.
Bye.
Hello, friends. It's Christina again. As always, thank you for listening. If you want to support Pickles and Vodka, you can give us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Pickles and Vodka Podcast. If you could relate to anything at all we talked about today, or you just want to say hi, email me at picklesandvodkapodcast@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at picklesandvodkapodcast. Stay safe and have a good week. Bye.